Welcome to Alaska Weather, a production of Alaska Public Media and the National Weather Service, Alaska Region. Produced and broadcast daily from the studios of KAKM, Alaska Weather provides complete forecasts, public, marine, and aviation for all of Alaska. Alaska Weather is made possible by the following sponsors.
When shopping for your family's meals, do you know where you can find Alaska-grown products? Everywhere. They're available at your local grocery stores and farmers markets across the state. Alaska-grown products are fresher and more nutritious, and buying local helps grow our economy. So just look for the Alaska-grown label when you shop, or ask your grocer where the Alaska-grown products are. Remember, Alaska-grown. It's closer, fresher, better.
And it's all Alaska-grown.
The National Weather Service.
Hello again, everyone, and thanks for joining us for this Friday's edition of Alaska Weather. I'm Dave Percy. On the warning advisory map here, we still have that flood advisory going there for the central interior areas, many of the rivers near Bankfall through that area, and especially the Tanana River, Salsa, and the two Chinas, pretty full, high water levels on there. Minor flooding continuing to occur in these areas there, and that's probably going to stay out into next week, the way it looks now. And for the satellite imagery yesterday, we had moisture pushing eastward here. Still had that very persistent band, east-west band there of rain and clouds through the central interior, and clouds all the way up to about the crest of the Brooks Range, and a mostly sunny day there for the North Slope, breaking out a little bit here over south central Alaska in the afternoon, but clouds spreading in mostly to the northern southeast coast, and then upper level trough out here to the west. A lot of moisture streaming northward that pushed up last night into the southwest interior, came eastward and set up right over south central Alaska. You can see that circulation here coming eastward, mostly in across along the southwest coast, Bristol Bay area. In the front already pushing off to the east, and up bringing anywhere from 1 to 5/10 of an inch of rain today across just about all of southern Alaska, right up into the central interior, with rainfall and precipitation all the way up into the northern Koyukuk Valley areas and back out across the Seward Peninsula. Another sunny, dry day there from the Brooks Range northward out to the Arctic coast, but there were some low clouds out there this afternoon. Fog earlier on, but nothing too serious. And we've got this moisture now. Occasional rain today over the southeast coast. Periods of light rain, cloudy skies, starting to increase here with the moisture back out to the west here. The cold front right through here. Looks like it's across Kodiak Island there in the main surface low, or the upper trough, back in this area, and that'll be moving eastward, mostly along or to the south of the Kenai Peninsula. And looking at today's chart, surface low, 1,003 millibars. Northern Cook Inlet around the Susitna Valley, really a slack pressure gradient, no wind at all to speak of, nothing serious anyway here across the area. Northwest winds on the increase back over the southwest interior, and eventually across Kodiak Island. Warm front spreading rain, or will be increasing that this afternoon, tonight, especially later tonight, and across the southeast coast. And there were some isolated thunderstorms as far west as the Kobuk Valley this afternoon. A little more widespread along the Koyukuk Valley, northern Koyukuk, and off to the east there. Not quite as far north into the Brooks Range as I got drawn there, a little bit farther to the south, but under that 1,002 millibar low, there are a few more strikes there than anywhere else, and didn't really see too many lightning strikes here down to the south, maybe a couple early on back up over the northwestern Alaska Range area. And out to the west, higher pressure continued kind of northwesterly flow, west-northwesterly, nothing very strong. Lots of low clouds, patchy areas of fog, but not too bad here. Mostly the lowest conditions along the Bering Sea side of the Alaska Peninsula. Again, areas of sunshine, good VFR on the lee side of the peninsula there. And this moisture mostly, or will stay to the south, but gradually edging its way northward for tonight. A little closer there, but still south of the Aleutians, so no change over the Bering Sea or the Aleutians. Looking for gale force winds increasing to 35 knots here for the Barren Islands back in toward Camassac Bay after midnight. Definitely an increase in those winds for Kodiak Island, which will dry it out and begin to clear the skies a little bit there, especially on the east side of the island. That same pattern right down the coastline there in the peninsula. Bering Sea side of the coastline, look for areas IFR, marginal conditions, fog, low clouds, drizzle at times, possibly even over to the eastern Aleutians. Then a batch of moisture sliding southeastward there out of the Russian Far East, pushes into the Bering Strait with periods of rain and fog there, reaching the Yukon Delta coast later on tonight. Otherwise, mostly cloudy, showery over the interior. Pretty good low now in the Gulf of Alaska. 998 millibars as the upper trough pulls eastward, and everything kind of generates there. So after midnight, the wind and rain really start to increase here across the southeast coast. Rain becoming heavy at times later on, late tonight. And chances of rain mostly over the southern Copper River Basin areas, but a few showers even up along the Alaska Range. Stays dry, north slope back in toward the Kivalina area, possibly Kotzebue Sound. This moisture mostly staying to the south. And then for tomorrow, we'll see that front has moved through. So it's going to be a wet weekend here across the southeast coast, but the heaviest rain, windiest conditions will be tomorrow. So it'll be the actually late tonight, early tomorrow morning. You can see the front pushing through, so wind and rain decreasing, tapering off to showers, possibly ending altogether here from about, say, south of Sitka down across Prince of Wales Island. Could see some afternoon clearing down there, and then more moisture here with the upper level trough here with the flexion at the surface. That'll be moving in later, and that'll keep it pretty showery, cool, and unsettled across the Panhandle through Sunday, but winds will be much lighter. And clearing out, again, looks like partly sunny. I'll call it here for south central Alaska. Probably mostly sunny Kodiak Island with those northwest winds. And mostly dry Prince William Sound. Few afternoon showers isolated there over the Copper River Basin, maybe the Talkeetnas with any lightning strikes up here along the Alaska Range, Tanana Valley, and then back out along in advance of this incoming system here with that cold front now bringing rain, possibly as far south as Togiak tomorrow afternoon, back across Nunivak Island, and spreading across the Kuskokwim Valley up toward the Alaska Range in the afternoon. And looks pretty wet here over the Kobuk Valley areas over to about Tanana, spreading in. Not too bad over the Fairbanks area, just mostly cloudy, some scattered showers with most of the rain holding back to the west. Upper Yukon area, Yukon Flats of the Brooks Range, not too bad. Kind of a narrow band of convection right through here. Call it showers up there. Probably missing Arctic Village extending out to the eastern Arctic coast. Easterly winds continue, offshore flow, so VFR sunshine, say from about Wainwright all the way down to Point Lay, Point Hope, Cape Lisburne. Mostly sunny skies there for Kivalina and the Noatak Valley areas again into the Seward Peninsula there as this pulls eastward. Dry air comes in behind, and a little bit more of a breeze here now over the Bering Sea, but still dry conditions, low clouds, fog from the Pribilofs, and this moisture edging northward, bringing chance of rain to the central Aleutians, real light rain, maybe to Amchitka. That looks a little better for Sunday. Some of that will slip on up into the Adak-Atka area, so IFR, light rain, fog, drizzle, that sort of thing. Light winds though, nothing serious wind-wise out there. And then also some IFR here along the north side of the peninsula, maybe eastern Aleutian areas, Pribilofs, actually that remnants of that cold front right through here. And that's some of that leftover moisture. Probably will make it a little damp across the Pribilofs on Sunday. And that'll also occur down, as I mentioned, into the peninsula. Kind of two bands coming across, one right through here. Late tomorrow night, pushing into Prince William Sound. So Sunday, occasional rain. In fact, most of southern Alaska here will see a day Sunday similar to what we saw today here with periods of rain in between these two features. It may dry out enough, at least the rain may end over Cook Inlet, but that'd be mostly south of the Forelands, north of there. Could go either way, but up in the valleys, rain throughout the day, extending back, maybe some isolated thunderstorms up over the central interior, but mostly sunny skies up to the north, dry and just about cloud-free with pretty good temperatures. Winds a little gusty there along and off the eastern Arctic coastal areas, but that offshore flow keeping it sunny all the way out to the coastline. VFR breaks here along the west coast as well, and cloudy, showery. Again, that upper level trough moving through, keeping the showers going probably throughout much of the day there across the southeast coast, but drying out over the southern areas. So Prince of Wales Island over to Metlakatla, maybe up north a little bit there. Could see some partly sunny skies with higher pressure here nosing up into the area for Sunday afternoon. And for temperatures down that way today, mostly in the 50s, 57 at Metlakatla, over at Heidelberg, Stewart, Sitka, and Petersburg, as well as Yakutat, Cordova, Valdez, and Northway, all 57 this afternoon. Upper 50s, lower 60s here, south central Alaska, 61 in Homer, 59 down in Kodiak, at a 63 at Talkeetna, Gulkana 60 degrees, McCarthy at 52, and mid to upper 50s there for the Tanana Valley. And into the sunshine, 65 at Bettles, more or less there, but where it was clearer, 73 at Kelly this afternoon with 59 at Kivalina, into the 60s, Kotzebue and Deering, and North Slope, mid-50s, Arctic Coast, cooler. Kaktovik had temperature equal to my age of 36 this afternoon. Otherwise, Cape Lisburne at 50 degrees, Nome 54, 50s all down through the west here, lower to mid, 53 Yakutat, 53 at McGrath, 53 also at Bethel and Amonic, with mid-50s for the Pribilofs, lower 60s there at the little more sunshine on the southern coast of the peninsula, otherwise upper 40s and lower 50s for the Aleutians. Lows for tonight, 50s for the Panhandle, upper 40s to mid-50s here across the southeast interior, actually all the way out to the west coast, 50s Peninsula, 40s for the Aleutians, 30s North Slope and Arctic Coast. And for the highs tomorrow, again, pretty nice, more sunshine up to the north there, so 65 to 70 or 60 to 70 through this area. And even the North Slope into the 50s again, cooler along the coast. And with the sunshine, northwest winds off the mountains there, look for 60s to lower 70s here for south central Alaska, 50s for the Panhandle, Aleutians, and Alaska Peninsula. Flying weather, marginal VFR here across all of the southeast coast, IFR up to the north of the main band of IFR kind of pushing eastward there, and then IFR over the Copper River Basin, back through here, and of course out over the Bering Sea, right on down to the Alaska Peninsula. But the main Aleutian chain there looking marginal, and then for tomorrow afternoon, marginal VFR mainly along the Arctic coast, and then some IFR here from the Bering Strait down to Nunivak Island, including Cape Neuenham and Cape Romanzoff, back up across St. Lawrence Island, and from the Pribilofs along and just north of the Aleutians, and also here over the Prince of Wales Island area tomorrow afternoon. Anyway, so let's go to passes. Anatuvik, VFR becoming marginal, and that same forecast for Adigan, got moisture lifting northward toward those passes, so look for a gradual downturn in conditions, lowering ceilings, possibly to marginal VFR for both Adigan and Anatuvik. Lake Clark and Merrill, same thing. More likely though, lowest conditions will be on the western entrances, coming down to VFR tomorrow afternoon. Rainy, marginal, windy, same forecast. Isabel, marginal VFR improving to VFR. And so that same forecast also for Mentasta. Tanita, marginal becoming VFR. And Portage also starting out marginal early, becoming VFR probably during the morning hours. Chilkoot and White, marginal VFR deteriorating to IFR by midday. Freezing level 6,000 feet in the Arctic coast, about 8,000 feet through much of interior Alaska. That on those northwest winds driving that 8,000 foot line well south and southeast of Kodiak Island. And then warmer air nudging northward ahead of that frontal system into the Panhandle. This for a late tonight, 12,000 feet out over the Bering Sea. Icing above 7,000 feet here, southwest coast. Again, this heading southeastward and eastward here into the interior, mostly above 7,000 feet, and also icing possibilities here across the southeast coast, right up over the eastern interior, with that threat becoming less and less as the day wears on, but kind of hanging in a little longer over the northern areas. And the upper level wind, or the jet stream, next upper low coming in to Seward tomorrow midday, and then this one coming across eastward, southwest, 120 knots there into the southeast coast, supporting that frontal system and the winds at the surface, rain heavy at times, a little bit higher pressure here out to the west, and for 9,000 feet, good low here in the northeast Gulf of Alaska. South winds 25 to 35 knots there for the Panhandle, lighter over the interior. Easterly continues on the Arctic coast, not too strong. Northwesterlies 25 to 40 knots here along the southwest coast, and Kodiak Island 35 knots for Kamishak Bay and the Barrens. 40 knots at 3,000 feet in those areas with the strongest winds here. Kodiak back up, but diminishing there along the southwest coast. 15 knots, St. Lawrence Island, and then those good southerlies here sweeping in across the southeast coast. That'll be later tonight and into tomorrow morning. Out west, no wind at all, just variable to northwest at 10. And for turbulence, occasional moderate chop there for the Aleutian Range, Kamishak Bay, down across Kodiak Island, and along the mountains there, Togiak Bay and the Kilbrook Mountains, as well as the southeast coast. This all improving into the afternoon. And after the break, Hangar Flying, I'll be back with the marine forecast and the ice edge.
Good evening. I'm Harry Keeling, and on behalf of Alaska Public Media and the Alaskan Aviation Safety Foundation, welcome to Hangar Flying. Our guest this evening is Major Mike Boyer, who's a C-17 pilot at J-Bear, and he's this year's Arctic Thunder Director. Mike was born in Pittsburgh and graduated from the United States Air Force Academy. He's had assignments all over the world, from Charleston to Hawaii to Hungary. Welcome, Mike, and thanks for your service.
Well, thank you, sir, for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Mike, I also want to thank you and all of the men and women at J-Bear and for other places for this spectacular event that we're going to talk about tonight, Arctic Thunder. Sometimes I think we don't realize the enormous amount of work that you and others put into the preparation that makes this event such a success. So thank you. Let's just start with basics, dates and times.
Okay, well, Arctic Thunder will be held on the 30th and the 31st of July, obviously, this year, and the gates will open at 9 a.m.
Okay. So Saturday and Sunday is for the general public?
That's correct. Saturday and Sunday is open to the general public. Boniface and Fort Richardson gates will be open. There is no admission fee. There is no parking fee, so come on in. It will be vectored into free parking, and then from the parking you go through security zone and then onto the ramp where you have stack displays.
So coming through the Fort Rich gate and then going through Fort Rich to Elmendorf, or come through the Boniface gate?
That's correct.
Okay. You know, you and I have talked a little bit about this. Sounds like you guys have really put a lot of thought into this so that we don't have the traffic jams. And in fact, you mentioned one thing about the not having to shut it down during the fly-in.
Yeah, in the past we've had to close one of the roads because it goes through what we call an air box. So when you have very fast, high energy performance aircraft like jet aircraft, we have to shut down one of the intersections, and we found a way this time around to have a bypass so we never really have to slow or stop the flow of traffic.
You know what I'd like to do now, Mike, is talk a little bit about Friday, which
Sure.
I think has always been called the Special Needs Day.
That's correct.
Can you talk about what that entails and who it involves?
So Special Needs Day is a by invitation only event, and we reach out to the local community and certain shelters and other organizations to bring individuals onto the base and give them a behind-the-scenes look at how the open house is planned and allow them to move around the area a little more freely without a large crowd, and also view some of the practice demonstrations that will be going on at that time.
What a wonderful thing. And I know that J-Bear and Elmendorf have been doing that for years, and it really is a wonderful thing that you provide that day for special people. If folks have questions about that, can we put is there a website they can go to?
Yeah, absolutely. I encourage everyone to visit J-Bear's website. I believe it's on the screen now. There's really two websites. The first one is the installation website, where it hosts the formal information about the base. And then we have another website that we built, arcticthunderopenhouse.com. This website will host specific information about the open house. Will enhance everybody's overall experience.
Good. And the show on Friday is maybe not a carbon copy, but pretty close, isn't it?
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
what they'll be exposed to, what they can see, and
Yeah,
take part in.
the timings might not match up exactly, but we're giving the performers a chance to do a local area orientation, get familiar with the airspace and the landmarks. They'll fly their routines, maybe try out some new maneuvers. It's really their way of conducting ongoing practice and proficiency.
I think I'd like to get you back on next time. We've got just about a minute left, but I won't talk about the show itself. But we've got a little bit of time still this evening. So for Saturday and Sunday, you said the gates open at 9, is that correct?
That's correct. The gates open at 9 a.m. on Saturday and Sunday.
Okay. And the show itself starts at?
The show will start between 10 and 10:30. We'll have a really energetic opening. We'll have an airdrop. We'll have an acro teaser. We'll have the rescue squadron, the National Guard Rescue Squadron, dropping the American flag into show center, and a pretty powerful flyby.
Oh, that's nice. And what time is that? 10:15?
Between 10 and 10:30.
Okay. So really, people should get there a little bit early if they want to really see the start, huh?
Yeah, I would recommend getting there closer to the opening, especially if you want to view some of the SAC displays. We have over 40 SAC displays that will be on the ramp. So if you want to take some time and view those assets and hardware beforehand without the air show going on overhead, that's the time to do it, because around that time frame we will be starting a full day's worth of aerial performances.
Great. Mike, let's get you back on and talk about some of the performers and a couple other special considerations. But I would like to, in fact, let's just put the rest of it off until next week. I appreciate you being on tonight, and I look forward to having you back on next time. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed tonight's show, and until next time, fly safe.
Welcome back. Today's sea ice analysis not looking much different from yesterday. Heavier ice still here near or off the coast there on the east side back up toward Barrow. One change I did notice was they're now carrying seas in the marine forecast for the central and east side of the coast here, which means concentrations have crossed some kind of threshold there, which means they probably lightened up a little bit there now that we have seas there. Really not much change from this over the next several days. And for the southeast coast, again, gales tomorrow morning, beginning tonight here over the Clarence Strait area, 35 knots diminishing in the afternoon, but small craft advisories all the way up through the Lynn Canal. Small crafts here along the coast in the afternoon, southwest 25, south 30, and then back to 25 knots on the north coast. For Sunday, lighter winds everywhere. Southeast 15 now for the southern inside waters. Southerlies about 20 for Stevens Passage. Still 25 knots out of the south for Lynn Canal. Southwest 20 for the south coast. Southerlies at the same speed there for the north coast. So those seas up to 9 to 11 feet. And for Prince William Sound, northwest or north-northwest 15 knots, 2-foot seas. Southwesterlies 15 to 20 for the Cook Inlet area. Gales, Kamishak Bay, down across the Barren Islands. And again, these kick in after midnight tonight there. And small craft advisories, Shelikof Strait and Kodiak Island. Northeast 20 for the North Gulf Coast. Sunday, variable winds there for northern Cook Inlet, south 15 to the south, and 25-knot winds for Shelikof Strait and the east side of Kodiak. Small craft advisories there. Southwest turning southerly at 20 knots for the North Gulf Coast, going southeast at 20 into Prince William Sound. Bristol Bay, small craft advisories. Next extends down across all of the Alaska Peninsula with 30-knot winds from Castle Cape to Sitkinak out of the west. And pretty uniform wind pattern with sea heights here. Westerlies 25 knots with 7-foot seas on the Pacific side, and seas even higher here on the Bering Sea side, running 8 to 9 feet. And for tomorrow, Saturday, 15 to 20 knot westerlies from Atka all the way over to Unalaska. Southwest, pretty light, 10 to 15 on out to the west. Then for Sunday, westerlies of 15 there, pick up to about 15 to 20 here for the central Aleutians, and then increase a little bit more to 20 to 25 for the Fox Islands. And for the southwest coast, westerlies 25 to 30 knots, strongest south of Nunivak Island. Seas 8 to 9 feet, north 25 for St. Lawrence Island, west 25 for St. Matthew, and that same forecast good for the Pribilofs as well. Then for Sunday, west 20 knots, northwest 20 for the coast here, north 20 St. Lawrence Island, lighter northwesterlies there for St. Matthew Island. On the eastern Arctic coast, tomorrow, east 20 knots, seas 3 to 4 feet, east 15 on the central coast, so they'll seas up to 4 feet, 5 to 7 foot seas, small craft advisories here for the western Arctic coast, all the way down across the southern Chukchi Sea there and toward the Bering Strait. And then for Sunday from Wales all the way up on the west side there, east-northeast or starting out north, becoming east, say from Point Ley on up toward Barrow, 25 knot winds here from Barrow all the way over to Demarcation Point in store for Sunday, with those seas running about 4 to 5 feet. And for tonight, again, pretty good storm here into the Gulf of Alaska. Wind and rain, gales, rain, possibly heavy at times here for the southeast coast. Looking for 2 to 4 inches of rain throughout the weekend here for the Panhandle, with the heaviest amounts coming later tonight and into midday tomorrow, with precipitation back to the west here diminishing farther to the west, northwest winds increasing across Kodiak. And pretty windy, but mostly sunny. Kodiak Island up into south central Alaska, partly sunny, 60s to mid 70s. More rain shifting in from the northwest here in that front and the strongest winds tomorrow morning. Front moving pretty rapidly out of the area there, but upper level trough keeping it wet through Sunday down there, but drying out over the southern southeast coast, and then rain across most of southern Alaska, just like today. Sunshine up to the north, just like today, with some fog on the Arctic coast. That's a look at the weather for today.
These forecasts are to be used for planning purposes only. Call 1-800-WX-BRIEF for a formal pre-flight briefing. Always file a flight plan before you go flying. The U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary urges you to leave a float plan with a friend or the harbor master before you go boating. Alaska Weather is made possible by the following sponsors.
The National Weather Service.
Alyeska Pipeline Service Company, sustaining Alaska's pipeline and its operations today and into the future.